All right, hello everybody. This is, I believe, my third stream. I am going to be running a Lantern control list through a Magic Online League, and probably not doing terribly well, but let's see what happens. So, this is version 3.0.5 of my list. I'm still messing about with the last couple of cards on my sideboard. Today, I am testing Liliana of the Veil, a old classic in Modern Past. So it's a pretty straightforward traditional list. I don't really have a lot of spice going on. I'm trying my best to be as responsible with the numbers as I can be. I've got a split between 2 Profane Tutors, 3 Ancient Stirrings, and 4 Mishra's Baubles for my consistency package. I've got Inquisition of Kozilek as a 3 of, Thoughtseize as a 4 of for my discard package, and plenty of discard in the sideboard. For interaction, I've got Brutality, Trophy, Extirpates, and of course, the entire Lantern/Hate Rock package. Let's go ahead and run this through a league and see what happens. Alright, and we have already found our first opponent. Say hello to Demian Desposito? Yes, maybe? Demian Desposito Diaz? Alright. I would like to play first, thanks for asking. And this hand is unkeepable. This hand is a bit riskier, but I think I will keep it. I don't think I need the double bauble for this hand. I think one bauble will be just fine. And I will, in fact, fire off... What will I fire off on my first turn? I think I'm going to cast this Mishra's Bauble for sure, but how can I most efficiently take advantage of all of this? I think I want to fire off my Inquisition now, just in case my opponent is playing anything funky. Does that mean that I want to activate this Bauble first, just to see what's on top of their deck, since I have no way to interact with mine? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Sacred Foundry. Alright, they're playing something aggressive. Turn 1 Inquisition will be nice. Alright, and they have Boros Charm, Monastery Swiss Sphere. They got a Flage. Skewer the Critics. And a couple Sunbaked Canyons. And of course, they have that Sacred Foundry on top of their deck. I am going to take the Monastery Swiss Sphere here, try to buy myself a little bit of time. And then I can Thoughtseize that Boros Charm later on if I really want to. I might actually just suspend a Profane Tutor here. And I think I will. Not looking terribly favored here, even though I'm at 20 life. My opponent is at 6. So they've played Sacred Foundry and Inspiring Vantage, and that was the Boros Charm. So I can save myself just a little bit of life here by Thoughtseizing, taking something out of their hand. Let's go ahead and do that. Do I take the Skewer, or do I take the Flage? I'm not sure it matters too terribly much. I am going to take the Skewer, though. And they have a Mountain. They have a lot of lands. That Flage is coming down. So let's be responsible about that. Flage is not coming down quite yet, though. Here's the first half of Flage. Now, what do I grab off of this Profane Tutor? Do I grab an ensnaring bridge? Perhaps a collective brutality? I think Underworld Cookbook is actually probably correct here. I could grab an ensnaring bridge, protect myself against something. I'm not actually sure what. I think it doesn't really matter that much since I have a Profane Tutor coming off suspend next turn anyway. I think I'm going to grab the bridge, and my next... Now, my next one can go grab that Underworld Cookbook. Now, do I fire off this Stirrings? If I fire off the Stirrings now, I'd have to hit exactly a land. I could hold the Stirrings. Try to dig myself into some sort of lock piece next turn. But I'm not entirely certain it matters. I think that bridge plus cookbook is just going to end the game. So let's think about this. I cast Ensnaring Bridge now. Next turn I'll find cookbook, I'll have another card that I draw. If that other card is a land, I just play it. I think there's no real danger in holding the bridge, but I could just discard to cookbook whatever I draw next turn. So let's go ahead and be a little bit greedy, maybe. Fire off this Ancient Stirrings. Find this Mycosynth Gardens. That's a very nice find. That cookbook is still in the deck, ready for me to draw it next turn. That Roiling Vortex is not very fun. That Roiling Vortex is not very fun at all. That kind of actually puts a pretty big hamper on my plans here. Because I was planning on grabbing the Underworld Cookbook. Yep. That hurts. Oof. Yeah, this is falling apart. Am I just priced into grabbing an Assassin's Trophy here? This Roiling Vortex is not going to allow me to, here we go. Okay, well. That's quite interesting, isn't it? What do I Pithing Needle here? I think I am just going to Trophy the Vortex. And I will just go ahead and Needle Sunbaked Canyon. Not having any sort of lock and not having any sort of method to deal with this Flage that's coming down is not going to be fun. Just going to hope my opponent doesn't top deck a fetch land. But, yeah, I still think that this is game. I need to find a way to deal with that Flage right now. And I think they just kill me if they find anything. Yep, that's game. Okay, so this game was lost by a wild Roiling Vortex. That's quite unfortunate, actually. Okay, what is bad in this matchup? Grafdigger's Cage is bad in this matchup. Thoughtseize, I think, is bad in this matchup. Profane Tutor is a bit too slow. And I don't think Extirpate is the correct axis to be fighting them on. Pithing Needles are also kind of on the chopping block. Maybe I leave one needle in, just as a target. Now, what do I bring in? Bloodchief's Thirst comes in. Duresses come in. Do I bring in my Fatal Pushes? I'm not sure. Do I bring in my Path of Peril? Also not sure. I really worry about Terra Sunder being stuck in my hand. So I could bring in that Abrupt Decay. just to kill anything I want it to. And I think I will bring in the Fatal Pushes, but I'm not yet sold on the Path of Peril. If I'm not playing Path of Peril, then what am I playing? I'm not entirely certain. I'm really wondering if these Terra Sunders are correct to bring in. I'm going to... Oh, but that's so much removal, and I'm not sure that that's actually correct. I could just bring in Cage Needle. Needle does actually stop the other side of Roiling Vortex. Yeah, and Cage will stop Flage if I really need it to. Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. This hand is decent enough if I can find a second land off of the Stirrings. It has a Duress in it. Okay, I'll go ahead and keep this. This isn't a fantastic hand. But it does cast Ancient Stirrings, digging for a black-green source. Yo, look at that. Exactly what I wanted it to do. It's a Goblin Guide. It's going to hit me for quite a bit. Lantern of Insight on top. Let's go ahead and fire that off. Boros Charm is a good kick-up. Let's go ahead and Duress them. Alright, Scalding Tarn. Sanctifier Envec is an interesting one. And of course, I will just take the classic Lightning Bolt here. And I actually will fire off the Bauble now. In hopes of drawing a land. Look at that. S card I could possibly draw here. I don't think I really care about this. So Sanctifier Endeck comes down. The Scalding Tarn is down. Blooming Marsh is going to draw here. Overgrown Tomb is not fun. I'm kind of getting flooded with cards in hand, and I really don't like this. I think I'm going to name the Barbarian Running Camper. Alright, so there's the Monastery Swiss Sphere. I'm getting hit pretty hard. If I can dig myself to some way to shut off this Ensnaring Bridge, to turn on this Ensnaring Bridge, I think I'll be okay. But I'd have to do that. They still have the Skewer the Critics in hand. They got the Goblin Guide. They got the Boros Charm in hand, which is kind of terrifying. So I feel like I'm actually under quite a bit of pressure here. That Lightning Bolt is a really nice draw. I don't think it matters, though. I think I'm just dead. Because what they're going to do is they're going to swing in with that Monastery Swiss Sphere. I'm going to play my Ensnaring Bridge. I'm going to play my Ensnaring Bridge, go down to one card in hand. They're going to swing in and then Boros Charm me, and then I just die. Okay, wow. That was really quick. Let's go ahead and start another one. Okay, and we are facing Markel something. Facing something. We're facing someone. What does this hand do? This hand plays a turn 1 Lantern. It has an Assassin's Trophy to counter their turn 2 play, and it has turn 3 Bridge to bide my time against anything else. Also has an emergency Grab Sticker's Cage in case I really, really need that. I think this hand is keepable. Go ahead and play Forest into Lantern. See what my opponent is doing. 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗘, you say? Alright, so they're on some sort of blue-black tempo plan. And I think here I will simply just hold up Assassin's Trophy. Are they going to surveil away this Murktide region? I'm not entirely certain they will. They do, actually, but they find a Drown in the Loch. Very good. So we know 2 of the 6 cards in my opponent's hand currently. Let's see if we can find 3 of them. Do I want to fire off this Collective Brutality now, or do I just want to play this Overgrown Tomb tapped, knowing that they're probably going to do the Ochre Sporemasters next turn, and then I can discard maybe this spare Lantern, take care of it? I don't really have to play this Ensnaring Bridge quite yet. I think I will just let them set up their hand. And they are going to fire off that Orcish Bowmasters. And now I get to discard this Lantern next turn to take care of that. I also have this Psychic Frog coming down, which that will need to be answered soon. Orcish Bowmasters is gone. Psychic Frog. No 3rd land, you say? Do I just disrespect, Spell Pierce, and all of that to land this Ensnaring Bridge next turn? I don't think I do. I think I'm going to still be responsible. I don't actually think I want to kill the Orcish Bowmasters at this point. I think I'm perfectly happy just using this Collective Brutality in its discard mode. Let's see what you've got going on in your hand. Alright. Drown in the Loch is the only thing I really care about. Fatal Push, Murktide Regent, Morpheus Brewmasters, and Subtlety. Drown in the Loch is gone, and we can just go ahead and play out our hand here. And whatever this Preordained finds, I can just Thoughtseize away. You got a Preordained. Let's see what you end up drawing. They drew the Scalding Tarn. Okay. Preordain is gone. They don't currently have a way to really interact with this Ensnaring Bridge that I'm going to cast next turn. That is going to lock them out pretty hard, actually. And I think I will hold the Thoughtseize. I don't need to play the Thoughtseize quite yet. I'm going to take a little bit of damage from these Orcish Bowmasters, but in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't really matter that much. You may draw that Force of Negation. They're going to swing in. They're going to play their other Orcish Bowmasters, try and get a little bit of extra damage in. That's fine. I'll fall to 11. And then I'll fall to 9 once this Thoughtseize pops off. And I think I will just use this now. That Force of Negation needs to come out of their hand eventually anyway. Let's go ahead and take that Force. What do I play this Pithing Needle on? I'm really trying to think. I think if they're going to fetch, then they're going to fetch anyway. Yeah, they're going to fetch anyway. I think I'm going to play it on the backside of Tamiyo. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, and that's done. Alright, so they're going to draw a Fatal Push here. There's not much I need to worry about. They're going to draw a Spell Snare here. Ooh, Urza Saga. I really want that. Alright. I will draw this Urza Saga. They'll draw a counter spell. Rather not let them have that Preordain, just in case that finds a something relevant. So let's go ahead and take the counter spell. Alright, now let me think here. Do I make them shuffle? Just to try and fade the Preordain? I have a Mycosynth Gardens that I can use in an emergency. I think I'm going to make them shuffle. Psychic Frog. That's beautiful. You may have a Psychic Frog. Alright, let's go ahead and try and fetch up something nice here. Buried Ruin. Buried Ruin, you say? Since when is Buried Ruin in my list? Huh. I must be playing a Buried Ruin over the pathway. Alright. Well, that's not ideal. I don't know how that got in there. And I am ahead on cards, so I'm going to grab a Pixis. And this will just straight up copy the Pixis. I don't need it to do anything else. And this game is over. I'll go ahead and take this just because I can. Yeah, Buried Ruin should not be in the deck. I think that's just a holdover from when I was messing about with Crucible of Worlds, which Did not work out, by the way. Alright, let's just go ahead and start winning the game. And this is the part that takes a while. Really? It didn't save my targets. Interesting. Orcish Bowmasters are just fine here. None of this really matters. If it's not a mill rock, I'm gonna fail to find. I don't really think any of this matters here. Okay. I think they're just trying to burn clock. Honestly, that's the way that I'm going to lose this game. They're digging into their sink into stupor. Good thing is this will actually show me how many sink into stupors they play. There's one of them. They don't have any actual responses here. I've been pretty careful to keep them off of card draw. So I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. They're shuffling. You may shuffle. That is perfectly fine. Go ahead and sustain this Profane Tutor. All right. You got it. Again, there's just nothing to do here. It's just wrapping up the game. And that's game. So they played what? I think that was a second Sink into Stupor that I saw. Was that a second Sink into Stupor? I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Okay, and that's game number 1. Wise of my opponent to make it so that I have to use up all my clock to do that. Okay, so this is blue-black control. This is exactly the sort of situation that I'm bringing in Liliana of the Veil for. This is why I have it in my sideboard, is to test out this specific matchup. So, what is bad in this matchup? Collective Brutality isn't great. I think those can be upgraded. Grafdigger's Cage and the Underworld Cookbook are not great. Pithing Needle is not great. What is good? Abrupt Decay to remove a thing that they have in play is good. I'm not sure additional discard is necessary. Board wipes. A lot of their stuff is mana value 2 or less, except for the Murktide Regent, but these board wipes will hit. They'll hit Tamiyo, they'll hit Orcish Bowmasters, they'll hit Psychic Frog. Interesting. Do I want to bring in Path of Peril, or do I just want the Fatal Push as a cheap removal option? Do I want the Terra Sunders? What for? I'm not sure. The deck doesn't play the One Ring. I think I'm going to go more heavy on the removal. This is the... Oh, actually, I don't need the Extirpate in the deck. Maybe I do need the Extirpate in the deck. Maybe it'll be fine. This is a pretty dang good hand. I will keep this. Alright, they got a Preordain. Thoughtseize was an excellent pickup. I'll probably be firing that off on turn 3. Force of Negation, I will take it. That was beautiful. I don't need to use this Mishra's Bauble right now. They're going to try and counter my turn 2 play, but my turn 2 play is going to be suspending this Profane Tutor, so it's not going to matter. Props, hopefully this is an Orcish Bowmasters. It's an Orcish Bow. And I think here I will use the Mishra's Bauble. And I'm going to see what they scry to top here. Spell Pierce. You got it. I'm assuming they're going to be drawing that. This is the sort of thing that in paper you could actually check to see what they scried. By literally just physically following the card with your eyes. But it's just not applicable in online, unfortunately. Go ahead and stack our stuff. It just doesn't matter. Now, here's an interesting question. Do I just fire off this Thoughtseize into the this Ensnaring Bridge into the known Spell Pierce? Or do I Thoughtseize, play Pixis, and then just make some big boys with Urza's Saga next turn? I think I'm going to try that. I think I'm going to actually just pay this. It is a little bit of a tempo loss, but it'll tell me what they have in their hand, which is Murktide Regent and Spell Snare. So glad I took that Murktide Regent. And we are officially on Construct Beats. Oh, and I have a Profane Tutor coming off of Suspend. Would you look at that? What do I grab with this? I'm tempted to just grab another Urza's Saga, actually. I think I'm going to grab another Urza's Saga. And here I can play out my Lantern, see what they're going to draw. It's another Murktide Regent. Murktide Regent doesn't actually matter that much if they don't have anything in hand worth messing with. So I think instead... Unless their hand is exactly Force of Negation as the card that they drew, it would actually be more beneficial for me to create the construct now. Maybe even try to set them on the back foot. Are they going to attack? They are going to attack. Now, do I make this trade? I don't think I need to make the trade. They're going to cast this Murktide Regent. I can still afford to take a hit off the Murktide Regent. And I'm just not sure that this game is about anything other than just protecting my bridge at this point, honestly. So I am just going to tap this for mana. Going to grab a Codex Shredder. That Path of Peril is very interesting. I think I will play out Mycosynth Gardens here. Try to play an Ensnaring Bridge around a Spell Pierce. Consigned to Memory. Perfectly happy with that. Now I know what their hand is, and that second bridge in my hand is going to be amazing. Okay, and this game is wrapped up. They're going to have a double Spell Snare. I'm going to take a big hit from this Murktide Regent. I have to block the Orc Army here. I'm going to fall to 1. Now I'm going to mill this Thoughtseize. Grab another Pixis out of my deck with this Urza's Saga. Play Lantern. Play Bridge. and the game's over. Now nothing matters. I need to get rid of that Liliana of the Veil on top of my deck. That stop on my opponent's upkeep is going to be very important here. Psychic Frog is just completely irrelevant. You may have Subtlety. And I'll just use Pixis. Yeah, you can have a Consign. But I think I actually can afford to exile one more time. I'll go ahead and draw this Extirpate. Extirpate getting around Force Negation is quite nice. Not that it really matters at this stage in the game. But at least I do get to see their deck. So let's see what's going on. Alright. They have one Sink into Stupor as they're out. This is going to be easy. They didn't even have a second Sink into Stupor. That's insane. Why are they not playing multiple Sink into Stupors? I don't know. But that Orcish Bowmasters has to go. That is lethal. I can afford a Pixis here. Okay. I probably could have copied something with the Mycosynth Gardens, and in fact, I'm going to do that now, just so that I don't forget. Scalding Tarn is fine. That Thoughtseize on top of my deck needs to go. Alright. None of this matters. Misty Rainforest is fine. And I'll leave one Pixis up. Actually, never mind. I have 5 Millrots. I'm doing just fine. And they're going to try and find their one out. Probably not going to work. Mill them one card at a time. All right. Do not click on that Verdant Catacombs. Clicking on that Verdant Catacombs is instant death. You can draw the Scalding Tarn. Not exactly fun when I have a shifting board like this. I have to be super aware of what I'm doing. That I've got 9 minutes on my clock, it doesn't really matter that much. I'm actually going to do something really funny here. Verdant Catacombs. Make it so that I can't misclick. There's the sink into stupor. There goes the sink into stupor. And they've only got a couple of things left in their deck. Go ahead and cast this. Just doesn't matter. Nice. That is a match win. Let's go ahead and get started on the third. All right, and we are in match number 3 against 𝗟𝗚𝗘321. Hello, 𝗟𝗚𝗘321. I would like to play first against you. What does this hand do? This hand does turn 1 Inquisition, turn 2 Profane Tutor, turn 3 Saga tokens, and hopes that that is good enough. It has land for days. Jeez, I'm not sure if it's correct to keep this or not. I'm going to keep this on the strength of Profane Tutor. Oops, I do not have a land fetch. I am going to fire off the fetch land because I want to get that little bit of thinning. Oof! We're playing Storm. Alright, so Growl Monsoon Mage needs to go. They are playing the green version. I will definitely need to keep this off the strength of Profane Tutor. Stomping Ground is gone. Let's go ahead and play that Saga right now. And I'm just going to have to hope that they don't draw into anything good with this Rent's Resolve. Which with double Rent's Resolve, that's probably unlikely that they won't hit anything. That Scalding Tarn was not in their hand, so that's just additional info. Alright, one Rent's Resolve gone. Yep, they hit. That's a hit. I don't think this stuff is going to come off suspend fast enough. Oh, and it's another land. Well, let's see if we can, at the very least, hide what we're doing. I think playing the swamp there was actually incorrect. I think my out here was to Mistress Bobble into a Assassin's Trophy. I think they're gonna win here. Let's just make them do it. Pyretic Ritual first. Now they're going to play the Ral from Exile. So they are at 1... Oh, wait, that's not the Ren's Resolve from hand. Yeah... Ruby Medallion Shadow Skull Master Smashing wasn't a great hit, honestly. But they have the Desperate Ritual now. So I think they can just Past in Flames, and I think it's okay. Let's just see how they went. They're taking a little bit of a risky line here. So this is what they've got in their exile zone. They did not hit any mana, which means this Reckless Impulse basically needs to hit double Ritual. It hit one Ritual, which I'm not convinced is actually good enough. They haven't cast enough spells to flip Ral. They can cast Valakut Awakening, be down 1 mana, or they can just cast Ruby Medallion from hand. Yeah. They are going to oh, they still didn't flip Ral. Ooh, that's unfortunate. Alright, and they didn't do it. I should have looked at their hand. It doesn't matter, I guess. Interesting. I got this Profane Tutor coming off suspend. I'm going to stack it like this. So I draw the card. Because I wanted to draw that in position. Ral is a 1/3, right? Yeah. So I'm probably not going to shut them off of mana with the medallions and all of that. What's in their graveyard? Because I could get Extirpate here. They've got triple Ren's Resolve in the graveyard, but I haven't actually seen a Reckless Impulse. I think I'm going to grab Extirpate. And I'm going to grab... Do I actually... Because here's something interesting. I could not grab the Grafdigger's Cage and instead grab a Lantern of Insight. But I just don't... I don't know if that's actually correct. I think I just need to grab the Grafdigger's Cage, strand that Past in Flames in hand. I'm going to grab the Overgrown Tomb and I'm going to shock it in. Let's go ahead and fire off Inquisition. I'm going to hold the Thoughtseize, actually. They're just going to block with their Ral. Doesn't matter. Interesting. So they have Sunbaked Canyon, Ruby Medallion, and Past in Flames. They are going to kill my token. I'm gonna fall to 15 here. And just like that, I have a chance. I think this turn I will end up using the Thoughtseize. But what would I take? I'm not sure. Their weakness right now is their weakness right now is not having velocity. And they actually do have a Reckless Impulse in their graveyard, so I think I will take that. Ruby Medallion is gone. Metamorphose is in hand. They have an Escape to the Wilds, really? That's very interesting. March of Reckless Joy is more Impulse. Got Strike It Rich, and their only win condition is Double Wish, it looks like. That's very nice to know. Yeah, I don't really need to... ooh, that was a good throw. Do I grab an Urza Saga here? Codex Shredder doesn't do anything on its own in this situation. I think I am going to grab Urza Saga. I think I'm okay. I don't think I need to fire off this Thoughtseize quite yet. And I really want to tame this Ral Monsoon Mage with my constructs. Firing off that Sunbaked Canyon. Here would be a really good place to play the Thoughtseize. There's a Ruby Medallion. Their stuff is going to be really cheap. And yeah, I think I'm going to fire off the Thoughtseize here. Grab a Lantern with this Profane Tutor, I think. And I think we actually might be able to wrap this game up. Do I want anything else besides Lantern? Not really. Cookbook was fine, I guess. Go ahead and play our Lantern. Go ahead and play our Thoughtseize. Take that Manamorphose. Now, I could play Mycosynth Garden's Underworld Cookbook, which I actually think I will. And now we go on the offensive. My opponent is drawing dead this turn. And they're drawing dead next turn. I'm kind of sad that that Buried Ruin is in my deck. That really shouldn't be in there. Oh, man. My opponent's trying to figure out what they're doing, but I don't really think that they have a good line here. Yep. All right. And there we go. We are taking the first game of Storm just because my opponent did not combo off. All right. What is bad in this matchup? The second Pithing Needle is bad. The Underworld Cookbook is bad. The fourth Ensnaring Bridge is bad. What is good in this matchup? Duress, Duress, Duress is good in this matchup. What else is good? Extirpate. Good. Abrupt Decay. Good. I don't really think anything else is good. Let's take a look and see what else I can cut. I don't think that I should be cutting any Mill Rocks. Definitely should not be cutting any discard. Do I cut the Profane Tutors? I could cut one Profane Tutor and one Mishra's Bauble. I think that's okay. Now let's see how well my plan of 12 discard spells post-board is going to do. Just discard, 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 discard. Completely shred their hand. Maybe optionally follow it up with an Urza Saga. That would be great. I don't want to go too low on Ensnaring Bridges because they still have backup beats with Empty the Warrens. But I would really love it if my opening hand... Oops. Well, I submitted my deck. It's my opponent that struggled. I would really love it if my opening hand had 2 discard spells in it. And I'd love to draw a third. Come on. Yeah! Double Duress. This is what I kept this sideboard plan off the strength of. And I am going to fire off 1 Duress to start with on my first turn. Blooming Marsh, Duress. Braid, March of Reckless Joy. Pyretic Ritual. I'm going to take the Reckless Impulse here. Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, I'm taking the Reckless Impulse. Go ahead and play this Bauble. I don't really think I need to be activating it quite yet. My opponent, notably, did not, I repeat, did not keep any cost reducers in hand. So I'm going to try and kneecap their ability to find them. Stomping Ground is down. I don't think I fire off this bauble quite yet. Ooh. Alright, so Urza Saga. Lantern. That's a Manamorphose. I'm gonna go ahead and duress them now. Now, here's something interesting. I don't actually think this Abrade is that big of a deal. I could just take their March of Reckless Joy. Leave them with Manamorphose, which is a bit of a dangerous spot to be in. But honestly, I'm going to be beating down with Urza Saga constructs. This is a very interesting spot to be in. I could take the Abrade, but then my opponent has just a way of digging for more stuff. I could... No, taking Manamorphose isn't really good here. I have the Extirpate in hand that I can use if I really, really need to. I think this is something that I'm going to have to review later on. I think I'm going to... I might actually just take the Abrade and force my opponent to dig for more answers to what I'm doing. Is that a trap? I think that might not. I don't think that's a trap. I don't think that's a trap. Alright, so they got Manamorphose, March of Reckless Joy, they got the Abrade, they got the Pyretic Ritual. I took the Abrade, but now they have a Manamorphose, and they're about to draw a second. And I think that these Mishra's Baubles are just more helpful as +1/+1 for my constructs. There goes the Mountain. Alright, let's go ahead and cast this Mishra's Bauble. And I have this Extirpate up as a don't lose button, just in case. So I'm not going to be doing any F6ing here. Let's see what my opponent does. They are going to be doing a March of Reckless Joy. Alright, they took out a Manamorphose, they took out the March of Reckless Joy, and they're going to have Pyretic Ritual and a Desperate Ritual, so they've got the mana now. But not much else. They can surveil away that Arid Mesa. And they have a Desperate Ritual. So my opponent officially has a ton of mana and no way with which to draw. And they conceded. Just an unlucky march there, I think. Perhaps they should have marched for a bigger number. Not sure. I don't know. Let's go ahead and prepare our next round. Okay, and we are back. This hand is a trap. This hand has no way to dig for its second land. I'm going to mulligan. At the very least, this hand can cast a turn 2 Starlings. It feels terrible, though. And if it's an aggressive matchup, then the fastest I can cast a Collective Brutality is turn 3. I think I still have to keep it, though, and I'm going to bottom one of these Mycosynth Gardens. My opponent did mulligan to 6, notably. So I'm going to play Mycosynth Gardens. I'm going to play this Codex Shredder. Just immediately let my opponent know what's up. They're not playing... At the very least, they haven't revealed a Devourer of Destiny. They're playing Bloodstained Mire, huh? What sort of deck plays Bloodstained Mire? Mardu Energy. Mardu Energy plays Bloodstained Mire. That's terrifying. And I'm getting Grief Scammed. Does Mardu Energy play Grief Scam? What did they exile? They exiled the Fatal Push? Yep, that was correct. Well, I pretty desperately needed this Ancient Stirrings, so if my opponent sees that I pretty desperately needed this Ancient Stirrings, then I'm in pretty deep trouble, actually. And I think they are going to see that. That's pretty obviously what my hand is kept on the strength of. And now I have this Collective Brutality that's just not going to do anything. Alright, Mishra's Bauble, save me, please! I need quite a few things to go right in order for this game to turn around. Let's see what happens. My opponent is just burning time on their clock. Burning. I think I will prioritize a land on this Mishra's Bauble above basically anything else. I might, repeat, might keep a bridge, depending on what my opponent does. I would much rather have bridge in hand and just have to top deck a land. I'm getting Grief Scammed. Okay, that's fine. You may have my Collective Brutality. They're ephemerated. Well, now I can't keep bridge on top. Alright. I think I am going to just do land above everything else. That's a land. That's a Pixis. I don't think I can afford to play that Pixis, unfortunately. I think I just have to turtle up with these constructs. So what's going to happen? I'm going to make a construct. I'm going to make another construct. I'm going to make a construct. I'm going to take 7. I'm going to fall to 8. I'm going to make another construct. I'm going to block the bigger grief. I'm going to take 4 down to 4. And then if the constructs are big enough to survive... Yeah, unfortunately, I can't keep that Pixis. Yeah, they correctly recognize that it is best to be the beatdown here. I have to kill this grief next turn. So a number of draws will allow my constructs to survive this grief. That is one of those draws. So now these constructs are 5/5s, which are big enough to lock grief. Oops, I still have my opponent's hand from last game up there. They're big enough to block one of the griefs. Do I keep them off of this Bloodstained Mine? They haven't successfully... Huh. Do I keep them off this Bloodstained Mine? I don't think they have anything else going on in their hand. I think I'm going to keep them off the Bloodstained Mine. I will allow them to draw the Nethercoin. I can still survive one Alpha Strike. So I think my opponent's doing the combat math, recognizing that this will not actually kill me. I'm going to fall really, really low, but I'm not actually going to die. So they might keep their stuff back and attack me with an Alpha Strike next turn, which would force me to fall to 2, actually. Interesting, they're doing this now. I don't think this is correct to do. I think I double block here. My opponent is unable to kill my constructs. Ooh, that Thoughtseize is uncastable, unfortunately. So I'm pretty much priced into Mishra's Bauble here. Ah! Here's an interesting proposition. So I have the option of drawing Urza Saga, using Buried Ruin to get back the Underworld Cookbook, and then playing the Underworld Cookbook. And then next turn... Not sure if that's correct. Let me draw this Urza Saga, see what's underneath of it. It's an Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. So I don't need to do any fancy shenanigans now. Ooh. That's a Marsh Flats on top of their deck. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to not attack. I'm going to allow them to draw this Marsh Flats. And I'm going to hope that they don't have a way of killing me right here, which would basically be an Orcish Bowmasters. That's what they would have to have. The fact that they're not playing anything immediately tells me that they do not have the Orcish Bowmasters in hand. I can survive one removal spell. And here, I think it is a trap to block the Grief. You need to double block the Nethergoyf here. Because if this thing gets an additional power somehow, then that's pretty bad for me. Go ahead and double block. Falling to 1 here, which is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. This is not... I'm not having a fun time. I am gonna win this game by the seat of my pants. But I think I will win this game. My opponent is taking a very long time on all of their decisions. That tells me that they really do not have any sort of snap way to win the game. They have to think pretty hard about what they're doing. Alright, and I'm at 1 life. Let's see what they do. These don't have an Orcish Bowmasters in hand. Orcish Bowmasters on top of the deck is fine. That's a Delphi Voidwalker. That is not an Orcish Bowmasters. Alright, now I have 4 lands. I'm going to copy Pixis. I'm going to Windmill Slam this Ensnaring Bridge. Probably should have attacked them first. It probably doesn't matter that much. I think I'm going to let them have the swamp. They have 1 card in hand. I have no idea what that card in hand could be, though. Hopefully this Inquisition will reveal what it is. I think that's game. I hope that's game. I really hope that's game. I think I'm just... I think I'm gonna be safe and grab a Pithing Needle. I realized that I had to play the Pithing Needle immediately. Right, I was hoping to cast Inquisition of 𝗟𝗩𝗘 first. Huh. I'm not really sure what to name with this Pithing Needle. I guess I'm just going to name Marsh Flats. Just not sure. Oh, it's a not dead after all. I should have named 𝗟𝗓𝗩 Voidwalker! Ah! Wow. Wow. I should have named 𝗟𝗓𝗩 Voidwalker. I didn't even think about that. That's incredible. That was incredible. Wow, I had that game wrapped up too. That one feels bad, not gonna lie. That feels really bad. Now, what is my opponent doing? My opponent is Grief Skim. Dang, that feels really, really bad. Alright, even with that, I think I'm going to side out Pithing Needle. I'm going to side out Underworld Cookbook. Grafdigger's Cage on the play is probably fine, just as a one-of to draw into. I think I need to bring in my Extricates. Profane Tutor, I actually don't think is too slow. I think that I want a... Do I want Bloodchief's Thirst? Really? I think if I'm going to have Bloodchief's Thirst, then I may as well bring Fatal Push in. The Collective Brutalities are bad, so I could have Fatal Push and Bloodchief's Thirst just as replacements for those. Do I bring in Abrupt Decay? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to try it as is. Dang, that feels really, really bad. Oh. Do I keep this hand? It doesn't have a Thoughtseize in it, which means I cannot take a grief. I don't think I can... This hand would have to do some heavy lifting and top decking. But it can absolutely shred what my opponent is doing. I think I'm going to keep it. Alright, so they capped 6. I will play a Blooming Marsha. Let's see what's going on over there. Double Pithing Needle. I don't think I take the Inquisition. I think taking the Inquisition is a bit of a crap. I think I'm going to take the Pithing Needle. Hope my opponent plays a turn 1 Inquisition of their own. Because I can extirpate those Pithing Needles if I really want to. I could have also just, oh, they're looking at my top card. I could have also just taken the Dothy Voidwalker and been done with it. But double Pithing Needle kinda worries me. They're preparing for an Inquisition here. That's fine. Inquisition me as much as you want. They took my Inquisition. I'm gonna draw a card here. I'm not. Alright, so I have the answer to the next play that they have. Now we'll go ahead and grab a Swamp. And I'm going to set a stop on their draw step. I'm going to extirpate their Pithing Needles. Get those out of the deck. Wow, they just are not drawing hot. There are no more Pithing Needles in their deck. What do they have, though? They have Toxic Deluge? Okay. They have Grief Scam, they have a Surgical, they have a Necromentia as a hit. That's terrifying. They have a Graveyard Trespasser, which just exile. Oh, what is this? Board, discard a card. When it enters or attacks, exile up to one target card from a graveyard, and creature card, whatever. Oh, enters or... Okay, so this can ping me for 1. That other side can ping me for 2. Alright, so this makes me lose 2 life. Spell the Profane doesn't really matter. They gotta cling to dust, they gotta break the ice. Okay, it's fine. I could have exiled their Bloodstained Mire here. Shoot, I didn't even think about that. I could have also hit their Bloodstained Mire. Alright, early Ensnaring Bridge. I don't actually think they played an answer to Ensnaring Bridge. I probably should have extirpated their Bloodstained Mire. That top stack Ensnaring Bridge was just insane. I got a Urza Saga of my own. I don't really think I need to extirpate anything until I need to extirpate something. Grief is fine. They took the Blood Chief's Thirst. I don't really care about it. I could Thoughtseize, extirpate their Dothy Voidwalkers. And I think I will. Go ahead and just take that Dothy Voidwalker. I got a Fatal Push, which I don't care about. Okay, so now the real thing that I'm worried about is anything that they've got that can deal damage. Because I don't actually have a way of answering... They don't have a way of answering bridge. So this Graveyard Trespasser will deal me 2 damage. They don't... they have Orcish Bowmasters, which will deal me an additional 3. Spell the Profane doesn't actually answer bridge. Boggart Trawler doesn't answer bridge. Urza Saga, they only have a Nihil Spellbomb that they can fetch. They can Not Dead After All something, and then sacrifice it. So these are each lose 1 life. So that's 4, 6, 9 life that I can lose. Alright. This game is won. Deck does not play answers to Ensnaring Brew. I'll go ahead and play Lantern of Insight, just so that I can... And I have mana that I'm going to be losing, it's fine. Yeah, my opponent literally cannot answer what I'm doing here. It doesn't really matter what they play. They could even Ephemerate Grief right here, and it just wouldn't matter. So there's going to be a lot of F6ing. And I think my opponent knows. Go ahead and get rid of some of these stops. Start speeding up the clock. Dang, if I had played the first game correctly, none of this would have mattered. That's quite unfortunate. Clean to Dust is completely irrelevant. Honestly, if I knew that my opponent was on 0 outs, I probably should have just grabbed a Pixis with the Urza Saga. I'm gonna start removing stops. Just cast what I have. I'm gonna keep this Mycosynth Gardens. Just because it's another Pixis. And that's gonna speed up my clock a bit. Alright, this Thoughtseize is going to deal me 2 damage, that doesn't matter. Go ahead and cast this Mishra's Bubble. Please cast. Thank you. And again, it is always correct for the opponent to make me play it out, basically, just because this does consume quite a bit of my clock. Really don't want to play this Saga, but I'm gonna have to. Okay. Doesn't matter. Let's just go ahead and grab another Pixis. I'm ahead of cards anyway. Wow, I can't believe that hand actually worked out, and it's only because I top-decked a Snaring Bridge at the right time. I'm surprised they're playing white and they don't even have like a single disenchant in their sideboard. Alright, this is the second to last card that I will draw. Eld-Defined? Eld-Defined. Eld-Defined is faster. Yeah, my opponent's not even casting spells. They are playing this game quite nicely. Alright, let's go ahead and win the game. Now I can just F6 for forever. Nice! Casual turn 21 win. Now, knowing that my opponent does not have any way to remove a resolved bridge tells me that my Profane Tutors are particularly useful. Extirpate is nice, I suppose. I don't know if I want to be bringing in Liliana. That's not really the sort of situation. I want my consistency to be as high as possible. I want to be able to remove things. I think I'm happy with this. Interesting that I have a surgical that they brought in against me. Oh, this hand is unkeepable. Oh, I can't keep this hand. Oh, it's so irresponsible to keep that hand. This is a much better hand. I think I will keep it. And I'm going to bottom the swamp, actually. Because, I want to keep that Grafdigger's Cage, just in case. Even though I'm probably getting grief scammed here. I'm not getting grief scammed. Big success. They took the Pixies. Alright, Grafdigger's Cage, let's go. So the Grafdigger's Cage will protect me from the worst parts of their fast starts. But I guess I would have been protected from those anyways. Drop the Boardwalker, that's fine. Gonna get lightning bolted every turn now. And I don't actually think I'm going to do anything here. I think I'm just going to hold open Extirpate. I don't have a stop on their upkeep. I probably should have a stop on their upkeep. Drawing the double land was quite nice, especially with this Ancient Sterns in my hand that I hope I get to keep. You know, I might just extra pay now. Just to get the card out of my hand. And I think I'm going to extirpate their Thoughtseize. They have a Dauthi Voidwalker. And an Ephemerate. So what else do they have in their deck? Same stuff. So at this point... Oh, bear. That's interesting. I should probably restart my client soon. Alright, my opponent's gonna draw a card. I draw Fatal Push. That's quite nice, actually. So I can actually fire off the Stirrings now. Find that Ensnaring Bridge. And then just bet that my opponent can't draw a... Should have done that on their turn. Oopsie. Doesn't matter. If they don't draw Grief right now, then this game is over. I think they did that wrong. They extirpated my Pixis! I will take that. You have to draw Grief. Has to be a Grief. Did you draw Grief? I don't think they drew Grief. They did not draw Grief. Fortunately, I have another land in my hand. This just doesn't matter. Go ahead and touch a basic. Slam this bridge. F6. Now I have to win this game in 8 minutes. And that's the lock. Okay. All right, and we're all set. I don't own any cards exiled with void counters on them, do I? I guess this Ancient Stirring. It's Fatal Push. But these Pixises are not actually exiled with void counters. Not that it matters, since my opponent is behind on clock. What did they reveal? It was an Ursa Saga? I don't think they actually have anything in deck that I care about. I don't even think I grab the Urza Saga here, even if it's... Actually, that's not true. I'm gonna grab the Urza Saga. That Mycosynth Gardens is quite nice. Okay, now I got 7 minutes to win the game. It's plenty of time. Okay, this is going to become a copy of Codex Shredder. They're going to Pithing Needle my Codex Shredder, and it's just not going to matter. I'm going to Pithing Needle your Dothy Voidwalker right back. Okay, so now I literally just have to play all of my cards perfectly. I'm going to remove the upkeep stop. Do I have a... I don't. Oh, come on. You want to cast this lantern, I know you do. There we go, and I will have my opponent shuffle. And I'll have them shuffle again. Surgical on Lantern is fine by me. Not going to be pulling that trick again. Now I'm going to cast my Profane Tutor. I'm going to search up something that'll answer this Pithing Needle just to speed up the clock. It really doesn't matter what it is. This Graveyard Trespasser will deal 2 damage to me. There we go, that's that other Pithing Needle that I was worried about. See if my opponent just makes me makes himself shuffle or something. Ooh, they're gonna draw it, huh? Interesting. Do I mill this bridge in an attempt to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I don't think it's really worth sacrificing. Yeah, I'm just gonna play it out. I have another Assassin's Trophy in my deck somewhere. Mill. Mill. I'm just gonna play it out. Now my opponent is running low on clock. How interesting. I must commend my opponent for recognizing what this game is about. This game is about running out the clock. Fortunately, it just doesn't matter. Nice! And we've got the win. Alright, well, give me just a minute to get this 5th match running, and I'll be right back. Thank you for your patience, everyone. I'm just restarting my Magic Online client. It should only be a minute or two. And we have an opponent. Everybody say hello to Control for Days. I would like to play first, actually. Well, if you are on Control for Days, then this hand is actually pretty good. It's got a Pithing Needle, it's got an Inquisition, it's got a Profane Tutor to solve a problem, and it's got 2 redraws. It's not a terribly good keep, but it is a keep. I'll go ahead. Oh, they're F6'd. I think I'm gonna grab a Swamp here. And I think I will actually play a Mishra's Bauble and pop it immediately just to see what they're working with. Wall of Roots. Oh, that is terrifying. So I know they're going to be drawing a Wall of Roots. They have an Orcish Bowmasters. They have a Young Wolf. 2 of them. They have a Shifting Woodland, a Verdant Catacombs, and a Yawgmoth. Grand Position. So the Yawgmoth is going to be answered by this Pithing Needle. The Wall of Roots is going to help them cast their Yawgmoth. They don't have double black, interestingly enough. I could just take the Orcish Bowmasters. I think I'm going to just take the Orcish Bowmasters. I'll go ahead and play the second Mishra's Bauble out. This Profane Tutor will eventually find an Ensnaring Bridge, so it's not really that big of a deal. I just need to be careful to not throw anything into their graveyard that Shifting Woodland would care about. They keep it on top, you say? Profane Tutor's just so good. It's just so good. Alright, Shifting Woodland and the Wall of Roots and the Young Wolf are now out in play. I don't think this is about creating a token. I think I'm going to play my Lantern of Insight. And I'm going to play my Pithing Needle on Yawgmoth. Ground position. Do I want to fire off this Mishra's Bauble? I don't think I want to fire it off quite yet. So they got one unknown in hand. And a swing in for one. Let's see what they end up doing here. Another Wall of Roots. There's the 𝗟𝗡𝗯. Combat damage, -1 counters, snakes, sure. There's the Verdant Catacombs, which is the last card that they had in their hand. Just go ahead and I don't want to draw this Lantern, so I'm going to put the Profane Tutor on top here. And I don't really think that I need to get fancy with creating tokens and all of that. Although, interestingly enough, my opponent doesn't actually have much going on as far as attacking creatures are concerned. I might be able to try to stonewall them with a single Urza's Saga token. I don't think that's terribly necessary, though. I think I'm just gonna play it safe, grab the Ensnaring Bridge. Have that Thoughtseize. Ooh, wow, yeah, this is definitely some good stuff. Go ahead and grab a Pixis. I'll find an answer to that Shifting Woodland eventually, honestly. I don't even think I need to cast Thoughtseize at the moment. I think I'm just going to play my other cards. Play this Shredder. Take control of the game. The 𝗟𝗡𝗯 can't attack anyway. I need to stop on my opponent's upkeep. Haywire Might. That's terrifying. That needs to go. That's just some responsible Pixising right there. Alright, my opponent currently has nothing that they can do. Except for swing in with their 1/1. You know, you get 1 point of damage, opponent. That's perfectly fine. Young Wolf is gone. Lighted Halfling is gone. I'm gonna take their Malevolent Rumble here. Yeah, you can have an Orcish Bowmasters, that's fine. I'm gonna play this Urza's Saga. Gonna just take my opponent off of cards in hand. And I will actually just be really responsible here and just copy the Pixis. Alright, you can have the Bowmasters. And the game is over. Gonna save targets on this Shredder. They have no way to draw cards. I will exile with Pixis. Nothing matters anymore. Flashing in an Orcish Bowmasters just doesn't matter. I do need to play out every card that I have, because I don't want to get hit by all of these 1/1s. This is a Pixis. It's just so lovely having this Gardens here. It just made my lock so much stronger, and copying Pixis just means I get to exile their deck. I don't even think I need the upkeep stuff anymore. I would just never let them have anything relevant in exile that Shifting Woodland can copy. Probably could have milled that one. I'll go ahead and mill this one. And yeah, I don't want them drawing that Malevolent Rumble. I don't feel like using the... I don't feel like pulling up the name dialogue with Pithing Needle either. Let's just go ahead and make yet another Pixis. Oh, that's a nice little benefit of not having a graveyard. My Codex Shredder just taps immediately. How lovely. Yeah, you may not have that Zulaport Cutthroat. I'll fix that in a second. You may not have that Walking Ballista. You may not have that Agatha Soul Cauldron. I have a Grafdigger's Cage, so that allows them to shuffle. So I'll go ahead and reintroduce the upkeep stop. League's going pretty well. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm currently at 3-1. Lost the first match to a blisteringly fast burn matchup that I probably did not actually do properly. Right now, I am just playing against this person who says that they're control player, but they're actually playing some sort of Yawgmoth combo deck. They're going to go ahead and fire off this Court of Calling. They're going to be quite disappointed when it doesn't work. They did manage to shuffle. Having Gardens, just giving me extra copies of Pixis is just so nice. They have a Shifting Woodland in play, but I haven't actually given them a relevant target for their Shifting Woodland. Oh, they're a content creator, really. Hello, fellow kids. How do you do? For a content creator, I'm going to have to subscribe to wherever they make. All right, and that's the ball game. I'll just go ahead, play my land, be responsible. Maybe it actually wasn't responsible to play the land because it takes time off my clock. All right, and that was a really grindy game one. I have quite a bit of clock left. Getting a bit faster at executing the actual win. All right, so Yawgmoth combo. How do I want to handle Yawgmoth combo? How I want to handle Yawgmoth combo is this third Pithing Needle comes in. It's just too important to not bring it in. Collective Brutality is interesting. What's the ceiling on what Collective Brutality can do? Collective Brutality can take a chord out of their hand and kill like a, I don't know, like a Delighted Halfling, a Hapatra. Is that really good enough for what I want to be doing? Wouldn't I much rather just have something else instead of Collective Brutality? I think Extirpate is actually really good given how their loop operates. If I can Extirpate like a Young Wolf or a target for a Shifting Woodland or something, that might be pretty good. I don't believe that this matchup is about the Underworld Cookbook. I just straight up don't think that that's where we want to be right now. Instead, I think I want this Abrupt Decay in. Do I want in Terra Sunder? Terra Sunder is a 4-mana answer to anything that they have. It is also a quick answer to exactly Agatha's Soul Cauldron and maybe like a Haywire Might if I time it correctly. I don't think I want Terra Sunder. I'm not entirely convinced I want additional creature removal either. At least Abrupt Decay will hit a Soul Cauldron. Oh, do they play Chthonian Nightmare? Well, Terra Sunder's good at responding to ETBs. What would I side out, though? I kind of don't want to side out any of my consistency because my Pithing Needles and my Ensnaring Bridges are too important. I think I'm going to keep it as is for now, given how much time I've burned sideboarding. And I'm going to try something else later on and see how that feels. Wow, this is a hand. What does this hand do? This hand casts a turn 1 Thoughtseize into turn 2 Garden's Needle, like Pixis or something. And then it flails quite a bit. I don't have a Lantern, I don't have a third land, I don't have a bridge. And that kind of worries me. It will stop early aggression. I don't know if that's good enough. I don't know if that's good enough. I would need to top deck really, really, really well. What would be good top decks? Stirrings would be an okay top deck because I have the Gardens that can filter mana. Bobble would be an okay top deck. Additional discard might actually be okay. Any of my... Basically, the only thing that would be a bad top deck here is a Mill Rock. I think I'll keep this. I think I can probably top deck well enough to get rid of this. Ooh, Dryad Arbor as your first land. Alright, and Snaring Bridge, we're cooking. We're fine. I can Pithing Needle Haywire Mite. Malevolent Rumble will find other things. It's a permanent card, so it can find other stuff. They don't have early aggression. Now, I want to line up my Pithing Needle and my Thoughtseize to be as good as I possibly can. What do I take out of this hand? How do I line those two up properly? I don't know if it's correct to take Malevolent Rumble, actually. Huh. What's the most threatening thing that this hand can do? Pithing Needle doesn't actually answer Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Oh, and if they play an Agatha's Soul Cauldron and they have a Haywire Mite underneath of it, then every single creature they have turns into has a Haywire Mite's ability without having Haywire Mite's name. Oh, that's terrible. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have all activated abilities of all creature cards exiled with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. I think I'm going to take the Soul Cauldron and I'm going to needle either Haywire Mite or Yawgmoth. Wow, they just grabbed an Agatha's Soul Cauldron anyway. Alright, so they've got Malevolent Rumble. They played the Haywire Mite. They played the Swamp. And I don't know what the fourth card is because that's what they drew for turn. I have an Urza Saga now, which means I can go Ixis, Needle on Haywire Mite, and just hope they don't hit a Beseiju. I don't know if this is the correct way to go about this. Maybe I go aggressive here. My opponent has a pretty slow start. So they have a land. They did scry to top. I'm going to go ahead and exile that. I might just try to kill them here, honestly. I have a pretty big board. I think I'm just going to try to kill them. They have a Yawgmoth in hand anyway. Ooh, I didn't make the, dang, I didn't set the stop properly. That's a Dryad Arbor that I could have just eaten. Oops. I think they drew a cord. You got it. And now they can throw something underneath. They can throw Haywire Might under the Agatha's Soul Cauldron. So they're doing some sort of weird convoluted line to kill my construct here. Yeah, they got the Haywire Might underneath the Agatha's Soul Cauldron now. That's just a lot. Taking my Urza Saga, that's... wow. I mean, sure. Oh. Never punished. And I do think I'm just going to play Shredder here, and then Shredder again. I think I'm the beatdown. Yeah, that Agatha's Soul Cauldron is causing all sorts of problems. I took one, but they just found another off the Malevolent Rumble. They're gonna find another something here. A Walking Ballista. Do they take Walking Ballista? No, they don't. They take Boseiju. Now, do they Boseiju my Urza Saga? Do they Boseiju the Construct? Oh, they're gonna do something even nastier. They're gonna do something funky here. Wow, that Agatha's Soul Cauldron is a kill on sight card. That's just insane. They're gonna hit my Urza Saga. They're gonna Boseiju my Construct, maybe? And now I'm in a situation where I pretty desperately need an answer to this Agatha's Soul Cauldron. It just needs to be straight up, like, destroyed. I don't think I'm going to win this game. Dang, this is just absolutely brutal. I need an answer to this Agatha's Soul Cauldron. But unfortunately, I only have this Piddly Swamp. And I don't have my green. Oh, they're gonna let their mana tap, their cards tap for mana now. Interesting. Well, the Shifting Woodland is going to become a problem. I don't really have anything that I can do to interact with this. Proliferate? Where'd they get the proliferate from? Oh. That's where they got the proliferate. Interesting. Alright, well, I'm definitely not winning this game. Oh, I'm definitely not winning this game. Yeah, they got it. Alright, so that Agatha's Soul Cauldron won them the game. Just be straight up about that. Agatha's Soul Cauldron won the game. Okay, well, I have another opportunity to sideboard here. Pithing Needles are good, but Agatha's Soul Cauldron is in a league of its own. I really want these Terra Sunders. Side out a Bobble, probably. I think I'm going to side out 2 Bobbles? I'll go ahead and side out 2 Bobbles and see what happens. Okay, round 3. I would like to be on the play. I would like to keep this good hand. This is just a good hand. It doesn't have any lock pieces in it, but it's excellent at dismantling what my opponent is doing. Let's just go ahead and lead with a turn 1 Thoughtseize, shall we? Wow! Oh. How greedy do we want to get? How greedy do we want to get? I have the Terra Sunder to answer the Agatha's Soul Cauldron if it hits play. How greedy do we want to get? Let's risk it for the biscuit. Let's do it. Abrupt Decay. Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Endurance. Fulminator Mage. Underground Mortuary. Taking the Delighted Halfway. This is the rarely seen mana denial plan. Underground Mortuary is in play. They kept on top. I'm gonna go ahead and fire off this Stirrings now. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using this Extirpate or not. And already the plan is falling apart. I have Abrupt Decay, Agatha's Soul Cauldron, Endurance, Fulminator Mage, which on their own, all of these cards are pretty beatable. That Agatha's Soul Cauldron will need to be killed on sight. I don't actually think I'm going to play this Urza Saga yet. Now, do I play the Extirpate on the Delighted Halfling? Try to cripple their mana? Here's what I could do. I could Extirpate the Delighted Halfling. Next turn, play Lantern, Saga, Stirrings into a Millrock, and then just keep them off of lands. That's a really, really risky play. If they top deck even a single land, then what sort of resources have I spent? I've spent the Extirpate. I think that's probably fine. I'm going to lean even harder into this. I don't know if this is correct, and it is probably not correct, but it's very interesting to have the option. My opponent cannot respond to this Extirpate in any meaningful way. And they had the land. Open your eyes. Alright, so they got the land anyway. Unfortunately, it didn't show me what they kept on top, which is something that you would have known in paper. So they have the Shifting Woodland. I need to up my pace of play here. That is Terra Sunder on site. Very glad I didn't play the Urza Saga last turn. Let's just go ahead and kill this now. Don't need to get instantitis. Have a method of getting a third land. So that's quite interesting, actually. They do not have a method of getting a third land. So I'll go ahead and play this Pixis off of the swamp. And I think I might just try and chew through their stuff. Walking Ballista is fine. My stuff's just going to be bigger than whatever they can do. They still have one unknown in hand. That is correct, opponent. Do not attack. Now they're holding open their Abrupt Decay. I actually think I might just be able to straight up chew through their hand. I'm not convinced that I even need to keep them off of lands at this point. Do I grab Grafdigger's Cage here? Why would I grab Grafdigger's Cage? I don't think I'm going to grab Grafdigger's Cage. I think I'm just going to grab a Shredder. What could their fifth card be? Probably another removal spell. I'm going to swing in. It might be a Beseiju that they're super heavily prioritizing. I'm going to Stirrings now. Ooh. Another Urza Saga. But I played my land for turn, unfortunately. And I think that second Urza Saga might be a bit slow. I don't think I'm actually going to play this. I think I'll continue to keep them off of lands. You may have a Yawgmoth. They're gonna Abrupt Decay something. Abrupt Decay Lantern, huh? Okay. No play on the Needle because I don't know what to name with it yet. I still have an Unknown in hand. If I had been better about that turn, I might have been able to save my Lantern. I'm just not sure. Let's go ahead and swing in. I think here I'm just going to try and overwhelm my opponent. That's fine. I think I just need to choose something for Needle. What's the most damaging thing that they could have? I think it's a Boseiju, actually, at this point. So I don't think I'm going to Boseiju Who Endures. I think I'm just going to do that. Now they still have an Unknown in hand, and it doesn't really matter what they do with this Surveil. In fact, I think the most beneficial thing that they could have done... Ooh, that's terrifying. Do I go super duper aggro? I don't think I do. I think I'm perfectly happy just using the Stirrings. They can Fulminator Loop. But I think I can just overwhelm them with Saga tokens. They still need to answer my board. I'm still cracking in for 10 a turn. And Agatha's Soul Cauldron will not do anything if they don't have any creatures in play. So I'm just going to push damage. And now they have to answer my board. Which I genuinely have no idea how they're going to answer all of this. Haymire White doesn't do it. Haywire might plus a Boseiju might do something. They might be able to create some tokens using another Orcish Bowmasters and Fog for a turn. But if they Fulminator Mage, take one Saga, Fulminator Mage again using the Orcish Bowmasters and take another Saga, like I don't think I care. I need to put my triggered abilities on the stack first. Oops. Wrong one. Definitely want to do that one. And I think I am going to grab a lantern here. 3 lanterns gone. That's interesting. Alright. Math is for blockers. Figure it out. They're going to triple block here. They're going to sack their stuff to me. That's fine. I don't care. Damage is going to happen. I'm going to play Pithing Needle on Grist the Hunger Tide. And that's going to be game. Nice. So, this was a successful example. Successful? Did I say that word properly? This was a successful example of what you can do when you constrain your opponent on mana. Urza's Saga and Ancient Stirrings for Urza's Saga allowed me to make it so I didn't have to perfectly keep my opponent off of mana. I just had to restrict their options enough. I don't really even think I needed the 3rd Urza Saga, but you know, you find it, and it's just there to have. This, I'm just going to take a second and talk about how that felt, Old Lantern versus New Lantern. Because Old Lantern, it was perfectly fine to use mana denial as a strategy. But in Old Lantern, it was kind of a simpler time, and your opponent kept a really aggressive one-lander, and they had their Maelstrom Pulse, and they had their Abrupt Decay, and they had their Tarmogoyf, and they keep a one-lander. You Thoughtseize them, you take like their Inquisition or something, you hope that they don't draw a second land, and then they don't draw the second land, and then you just go Lantern Shredder. And the game is over. But in this particular situation, I didn't really have the luxury of keeping my opponent off of all possible plays. But I was able to keep them off of enough plays to where it just didn't matter that much. I'm gonna have to think about this. I feel like specifically Urza's Saga and the Construct Beatdown plan allows the deck to function less as a hard control deck and more as a tempo deck, actually. I didn't have to answer everything. I just had to answer enough things. And there was a point in that match where my opponent stopped making plays that won the game and started making plays that kept them from losing. And once you hit that point, then it's very easy for a Lantern Lock to just squeeze them out of their remaining outs. I'll have to think about the philosophy behind that. But for now, I got a 4-1. Only losing to... a really aggressive burn in the start. Urza's Saga is a more of an opportunistic game plan, and I will agree with you on that. But Lantern is built for consistency. I have 2 Profane Tutors and 3 Ancient Stirrings that can help find Saga. I have 4 Mishra's Baubles that, in conjunction with Mill Rocks, will help me find Saga. And in a situation like that, I think it might require a bit of a paradigm shift on how the deck operates, where you need to just, at some point, accept that you cannot answer everything, and instead focus on answering enough things. Yeah, Urza's Saga is just wicked powerful. It's just insanely powerful. 6 mana, 0 cards to create... Ugh, man. It does rely on opponents running out of gas to counter the tokens. But in that sort of specific situation, I was able to... Yeah. I mean, the deck is built around Thoughtseize, and it's built around controlling opponents' draws. So I feel like in a situation like that, I didn't actually have to stop them from winning, really. I just had to stop them from answering what I was doing. And once I transitioned to doing that, then the land denial plan just kind of worked in with the stop my opponent from vomiting out blockers so that they can stabilize. I'm going to have to think about this. I knew that I was taking a risk when I pursued that game plan in the 3rd game. But the risk paid off. It paid off quite well, actually. Perhaps combined with my experience playing against Tron, where I did something similar in a match, I think last week. I think that I think I might become an aggressive Lantern player. If you could imagine. We're not cutting Ensnaring Bridge. Do not cut Ensnaring Bridge. This is not the lesson that you should be taking away from this sort of musing. Do not cut Ensnaring Bridge. You have the option to just not play Ensnaring Bridge if you're winning on board. Just don't play it. And then the second you start losing, play Ensnaring Bridge. Don't cut them. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with this result. I will be back Thursday evening for another league. Let's see how well I fare in that league.